These little action cams have gone a long way in promoting general aviation through the years, from YouTubers like me using them to create content, to CFIs using them to record and debrief their students' landings. But there have been three major issues that I've experienced through the years. The first is where you mount them. They could be draggy or they could rotate under the air pressure. The second is actually just controlling the camera. Yeah, you've got Bluetooth from your phone, but that's been so finicky and hasn't worked so many times I've either lost the shot or I've just got gigabytes and gigabytes of data that then I have to sift through. The third is the battery is so small that your battery will probably run out before you get the shot you're looking for. That is all solved now with the Nav Power Spacer from FlightFlix.aero. It just mounts between your wingtip and your nav light, and it not only has a 1/4-20 mount for your action camera, but it has USB power. Now, when I built the Backcountry Bogey and wired it, I had the foresight to put 18 gauge wires out to the wingtips, but I had no idea what I was gonna use. Turns out you don't even need that. You can tap into your nav lights because in the USA, Part 91-209 states that from sunrise to sunset, you don't even need nav lights. So now you have a switched power source already built in. I'm gonna show you all the features of this. We're gonna get it installed on the Backcountry Bogey and show you how it works. All right, the Nav Power Spacer is very traditionally shaped, so it will fit most nav lights, position lights, wingtip lights. But I will note that there are a few slimline lights. I used to run these, but currently they don't match the profile. All right, so in my particular case, I've loosened the set screw, so you just slide it forward and it pops off the bracket there. It's very important that you don't just wire this into your 12-volt system. Okay, this is compatible with 12 to 28 volt systems, but you need to step down the power before you come to here. So they do send you with USB-A connectors that you just have to wire, and then you get this 5-volt DC power supply from ProRig on FlightFlix.aero. And then this will go into your either 12, 14, 24, 28 volt system, and then that'll output USB power, and then your USB power goes into here and then just pretty much passes through the 5-volt DC USB power. They send you also with USB-A to USB-C. So don't worry that you're using USB-A when all your cameras are USB-C, because they do send you with A to C compatible adapter, and it looks to be about the right length as well. I do want to mention that this does have some fancy protections in it. If there's a voltage surge or if it senses any sort of problems, it'll shut down, and all you got to do is cycle the power. That kind of acts as the circuit breaker reset. Before we install this here, we need to figure out where we're going to install this, and if we need to maybe lengthen these to make the connection to here, this USB-A connection right there in the actual aircraft. Okay, in my particular case, reminder, you could use the Nav Light Power. That would be just fine. But in my case, I built it and wired it myself and put in just additional 18 gauge wire on my accessory bus so that I can control the cameras independently. Where to put this? Thought about maybe putting it on a rib, but I don't want to mess with structure. So check this out. Access panel right here, removable, perfect spot, plenty big enough to mount the power supply right onto that, such that I can remove it. I'll probably just use Molex connectors so that this is removable as well. I can replace the access panel if I ever need to. All right, power supply is installed, as well as it's hooked up to the power. So to test this out, I've got a USB cable going to my action camera. So let's go ahead and flip the accessories bus to start recording. And sure enough, all right, not only do we have power, but we are recording. Next up is to install the actual USB to the Nav Power Spacer. And yes, I am gonna finish wrapping and cleaning these up for those of you about to hit your comment section, especially because we've got these sharp pinhead screws in there, so we got to protect those. So here's how you wire USB-A, and they don't go with USB-C for this because it just requires all sorts of handshakes and electronics that it adds weight and complexity. So I'm happy that it's this easy. Okay, that was super easy. So we've got a USB that we just need to solder sleeve to the Nav Power Spacer. All right, Test number 2 is a rousing success. Time to just clean up these wires and get this mounted to the wingtip. Magnetometers. A lot of people have them mounted in a wingtip. I don't. Mine's in my tail, so it's not a factor for me. So if that's the case for you, I'd recommend just using the opposite wing. This is made of aluminum, so it's not going to be a huge interference issue, but the power supply might be, right? So if that's easy, just go ahead and select the other wingtip. All right, so this just slides onto the bracket and nice and snug, and I just tighten it down with a set screw right there. But man, that looks sleek. What do you think? It's all mounted up, and of course this 1/4-20 mount is the standard for camera mounts, so you can use pretty much anything out there. I'm gonna use the FlightFlix Rock Steady single point mount because it has a ball head in there and it gives me a lot of freedom. So first step is just to mount the base in here. So I'm gonna spin this guy on. Okay, for this, I like to use an AN3-6 with a washer on either end, a locking nut, nylon nut on the other side. All right, here comes the fun part, the included USB-A to C cable. Okay, let's see if this works. And if you tied it into your nav lights, nav lights on, recording with power. I wanted to show you the effect of amperage. So here's my accessory bus. That'll power up without any cameras on. So that's the baseline, 1/2 amp. Let's go ahead and plug in the camera and try it again. This is an Insta360 Ace Pro 2. I'm plugging it in and the battery's mostly charged. So if it was a dead battery, clearly it would take more amperage, but let's fire up that accessory bus, see what happens again. 1 amp, 0.9 amp. So there you have it, about 1/2 amp to record on one action camera with a fully charged battery. So make sure you've got plenty of current available. Okay, that was the power up cycle, and now it's recording, but it's brought down to 0.6 amps. So it spikes, but then the ongoing current is only about 0.1 or 0.2 amps. The Nav Power Spacer from FlightFlix is such an elegant solution to those 3 problems that anybody who's flown with action cameras on their aircraft has always had. Secure aerodynamic mounting, power on, power off, and maintaining battery power to your camera. That's what I'm most excited about. No more battery anxiety. So I'm gonna be a lot more productive and efficient producing content. So speaking of that, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks to FlightFlix for producing such an awesome product. Go get yourself one, FlightFlix.aero. It's Steve. Until next time, you're cleared direct.